Okay, so we're live again. This is a continuation of my AKUMU mode playthrough. I know that it says it's part 9. That has nothing to do really with what chapter I'm on. Usually I'm doing this in parts. I don't have any clear vision of how the divisions are going. Sometimes I will get to a chapter and think to myself, well, maybe I'll divide this into 2 broadcasts, but sometimes I just keep going through it, and so it's a bit more raw too. You know, I die a number of times during this, and again, I'm not an expert gamer, so for anybody who's playing this game on this mode, this playthrough is coming from somebody who, you know, isn't an expert in the field. It might instill some confidence that that you can get through this mode if you are playing it. One thing I want to say in the beginning is I was looking at the video from my last broadcast, or more likely just recollecting something I said, which had to do with a Ruvik clone. Now, and this was in part 8, I think it was just a comment, something about that you can't sneak kill a Ruvik clone. Now, apparently, I've come across some information, and apparently I believe that it is possible to sneak up on a Ruvik clone and kill them. So in some situations where, you know, if you don't have... Usually what I recommend, or what I do, is I upgrade my harpoon bolts to level 5, and I try to do this by chapter 10 before the fight with Laura. And there are numerous reasons why. It costs 50,000 green gel to get from level 4 to level 5, and the damage it doesn't increase by this jump in level. It's the added fire damage that makes a difference. Ruvik clones can be pretty much taken out in a stealthy way with the harpoon bolt at this level in one hit. And in some cases, on AKUMU mode, when they appear in 2s. There's not one of them but 2. So even with being able to sneak kill them, if that's possible, which I believe it is, and I can test it out maybe in chapter 13, there's a part in chapter 11, for instance, when 2 of them come out, and then there's no way you can sneak around the situation. Every enemy's aware of you. But the harpoon bolts are also good for alter egos. If you happen to have to kill them, usually it's a good idea to try to run around them or find traps to get them in, because they're incredibly slow, even though they're strong. But strength really in this mode doesn't seem to make a huge difference, because again, you can get nicked in the foot and you're dead on this mode. So in the case with Laura, especially during the chapter 10 sequence when you're running away from her, if you can hit her with a harpoon bolt at this level, it will save you time, because she'll light on fire. In the same case, if you hit a valve and she lights on fire, or light a body, it's the same effect. She'll start screeching and it gives you time to run away. I usually use a shock bolt or 2 at times to like slow her down, but there are some bosses and some enemies in general that just don't stay shocked for a long period of time, and she's one of them. And so is the Sentinel at the end of chapter 6. I shocked him once or twice to save me some time, but he does not stay shocked for long, notwithstanding the level, you know, of what your shock bolt is at, you know. So and the harpoon is a quiet weapon, which is one of the most important features, because if you go kill a Ruvik clone in a situation where there's a lot of other enemies, like in chapter 13, it won't alert anybody else. But now I'm gonna just load this now. Just to show you, this is on AKUMU difficulty, and I've started broadcasting from chapter 1. This isn't on New Game Plus, so I didn't start the game out with any upgrades. You know, I am upgrading along the way. I don't really have the confidence to go through this without doing any upgrades, but this whole playthrough has started from the beginning and not on a New Game Plus, so currently I'm at the beginning of Chapter 8. And so I'm going to load this. This chapter is one of the shorter chapters. Potentially the shortest chapter in the game. I'm thinking of chapters in my mind. This chapter, Chapter 12. I'm not counting Chapter 1. Chapter 2 is, well, on this mode, I took a long time. So I'm gonna just skip the cutscene. You just kind of start in the cave that you went down from Chapter 7. Now there is I'm not interested in, the collectibles except for the keys, and in the trophies, any of the other trophies themselves. If you look at the achievements or trophies list for this game and go to the bottom, there's a lot of trophies at the bottom that for doing specific things in chapters. They're much easier to do on other modes, especially if you're playing on a New Game Plus. And if you can get through this cave, I guess without, what it says is, I believe it's an item management trophy. And it says something like, these caves echo like crazy, and don't want to make a sound, and really the thing is getting through the cave. You cannot fire. It's not just about making noise. You can't fire any weapon, even if it's a harpoon bolt, I believe. So you can still do melee hits. I'm not interested in melee hits on AKUMU mode. But you can see how easy the trophy... I mean, I believe you can do melee hits, so if you were actually, trying to get this trophy and you had brass knuckles, I mean, it would be very simple. Now, I'm playing this game in a way where I'm trying to conserve a lot of ammo and whatnot and get by the situations I can with using as little as possible. And again, these are alter egos that are up there, which they're very slow. And here I am making a lot of noise. I'm going to pause this for a moment because I want to look at something really quickly. Okay, it's not going that quickly, but, just trying to, Now, the first part of this can be a little bit of a pain. This is a tactic, though, that, I'm going to try, and even if I die, I die. Again, I always emphasize there's no real risk or penalty in dying. It could be frustrating, but, you have an infinite number of lives. Now, once you get past these guys and break through a barrier, there's going to be 2 more at the end of a tunnel. If you can draw them out of the tunnel into this area, and this is an effective way also to get the trophy, especially if you don't have brass knuckles, is to kind of bring them into this area, all of them, before opening the door, if you want to not use any ammo. Now, I'm going to try to draw at least one of them out, because usually the second one doesn't seem to follow me. I usually have to go back in a second time. So I'll probably wind up taking out one of them, which my harpoon bolts are at level 4. And the damage on them is 240%, the same as level 5. And see, this is the thing with them. Even if I hit one of these alter egos with a harpoon bolt, at this level of damage, they still don't die, because they're incredibly strong. And as someone pointed out earlier, you can hit them with one of these, especially at this level, and one handgun bullet after that will do it, but A handgun bullet will make a lot of noise. If it had fire damage on it, you can pretty much hit them with one hit. They won't die from the harpoon bolt itself, but the fire will consume them. And again, I'm not trying to dispose of these enemies, all of these. This is an incredible waste of ammo. I know there's some things in this area that are worthwhile to pick up, and you know, I'm kind of just running around here, which obviously is, you know, they've noticed me, and it's probably not a... I want them to notice me to some extent, but, you know, I probably... And if I die, I die. They're probably behind me. Again, they're pretty slow, so you have a little more space to kind of run around. If there were haunted in this cave and not alter egos, this would be kind of impossible to do. What I'm really hoping is to... Now, I'm going through here and there's going to be 2 more of them. I can usually get one of them to follow me, the other one just kind of sits there. And this isn't good because there's already a lot of them crowded here, but what I want to do is draw them to the end here. The problem is that it's very easy for that. If I get too far away, they sort of lose interest and start walking back. Now hopefully when I go back, there should be only one, and I could draw him out too. Oh my god. Not good. That might have been the one I was trying to draw out, and he turned back, which is common because they're slow and they're not going to chase you for long. So perhaps I should kind of wait around here and see if I can get them to really come to the end here. Now, 2 of them are here, and some of them... See, one of them's already walking back. It's kind of a pain, and... You know, somebody could point out right now, well, there's nobody in the room, but, you know, that, you know, why don't I just, you know, blow them away? And really, again, it's like I said, they're incredibly strong. You can waste a lot of ammo trying to, wow, he got a little aggressive there. And somehow, none of them are here. I guess I managed to draw them all out. Now, what I'm hoping is that they don't come back. But they might, and at this point, I wouldn't be happy about that, but... They are coming back. I'm gonna stop this because I'm gonna die. Now, there's one of them here, so what I'm going to do is just... Now, since I managed to hit him in the head, I guess that killed him, which is good. I didn't expect another one to come, and I died. God. That really... Now, at this stage... You know, having to go back to the beginning, it would be easy to, for instance, just stop the broadcast and, you know, start over, but I'm not doing that, you know. Again, this is more of a raw video, so I'm not concerned with the deaths, and sometimes, you know, a lot of time can be elapsing, especially if I'm dying over and over again. But it also gives a sense on playing on this mode, you know, what can happen. And it can be frustrating, but... Well, I shouldn't say that, that's an understatement. When I played this through the first time, I got extremely frustrated on certain points, to the point where I was screaming at the TV. but for me, this section of the chapter is probably the one that would probably is going to take me the longest. Doing it the way I am. Again, this is really about just not using ammo when I don't have to. Or using as little as possible. I'm very aware that they're, you know, behind me and around me. It's just that typically they're very slow. Sometimes they will go into a little bit of a mode where they'll start sprinting a little faster. But so I'm trying to draw them to the end of this tunnel right here so that they'll kind of hang out. And it's kind of difficult because they're kind of slow, and some of them will stay behind and they won't follow me, and of course when they do that, they will. Now, I almost ran into that one. That could have been death, but not good. It's not really something I recommend. Again, the melee fighting, but I was hoping maybe a stomp would do it there. Now, I don't even believe... You can't really, as far as I know, sneak kill these enemies, so... Even if I could use a... I don't even know if a flash bolt will affect them, quite honestly. Now, this is kind of annoying because okay, I did manage to kill him by stomping him. I guess when they're on the ground, even on this mode, when you stomp on them, I guess it doesn't take much to take them out, and... As you could see, I was cramped right next to that one, and I ran past him. Now, still, I could have easily died right there. If it were a haunted, I probably... There's a 90% chance I would have died. Oh, he's running back into the tunnel. God, I don't want to be here for like 3 hours doing this. Yeah, I'm not doing too great here. That's... But I really don't come into this with, like, high expectations, you know. There's situations that, you know, I sort of dread getting into. I can think of some that come ahead. And having passed chapter 6, I mean, it's like when I went into that chapter, the 2 rooms in the beginning was what I dreaded most, and I knew that the fight with the Sentinel at the end, because there's bear traps on the ground, would be problematic, but I wound up dying about, you know, 20 or so times on that. I didn't expect it to last that long, but... So... Really, the beginning part of this section is probably the most potentially frustrating, but it really depends on the way you play. Now, you can, you know, run through here and, again, fire guns, blast them away, make it a little easier, but you'll lose a lot of ammo in the process because they're, like I said, they're very strong. And they take a lot of damage. And on this mode, just ammo... and everything, there's just not as much of it laying around, so... I'm going to try this again, because when I stomped this guy before, he seemed to die. And that's... Man, this isn't going good. Not really the way I wanted to start this chapter, but... Again, no penalty, except for watching the loading screen, and... I really got to get these guys to come to the other end of the tunnel before doing anything. This is just... They just give up chase so easily. Which, in one way is positive, but in this particular case, you know... Now there's another one. I'm hoping he'll follow me and come over here, but... Another, you know, if I can just get this one guy to come out, and this isn't good. This is just not working the way I want it to. And this is just not working. I'm gonna have to probably dispose of a few of these guys. It's really, it's good to try to get through this, and it's possible to get through this without even firing anything, and I'm just finding it hard to get all these guys together in one place, and I'm trying to think what'll be useful. I'm gonna wanna... I should probably take out one of these guys. But the one closest to the door... Because this isn't... Oh, this isn't working. Now, I took out the guy on the ground, which makes a big difference, but... I don't think it's going to be enough here. Especially when their tentacle comes out. That's when they're going to move a little faster. And I guess somebody did come out. I guess if you break the fence, one of them gets alerted and comes out. Which, if four of them are out here, that's fine. I can just dispose of the last one. But if they all follow me into the next place, it's just not going to be good. They're sort of just hanging around the front. I'm gonna give this a try and really hope that they just kind of give up chase, because oh, there's two of them here. This isn't good. And again, you know, other ones followed me through here. I don't know why. Man, I'm imagining this is gonna take... I really hope this doesn't. And I'm looking at the elapsed time. This takes me like 2 hours to get... This is like potentially the shortest chapter in the game, and it just seems like I'm not doing this good. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. I'm not. Now it just seems like I got more of them in the tunnel than I wanted. No, the bats. I don't know why the bats just suddenly flew out. Maybe that's a good... Oh my god. Yeah, I'm getting a little... see, now I don't have another harpoon bolt. And... no. This really isn't what I wanted to happen. Guess another reason it's always good to keep an eye on the, how many bolts one has and whatnot. The inventory screen, when you flash it up, is only going to slow down time, which, in some instances, is just not enough time to get away. Now, because they're slow, it sort of gave me time, but... So, I'm just gonna miss. Oh. This is kind of frustrating me now, because I'm... Yeah, I guess stomping them works well, even on this mode. I mean, but... I'm kind of not happy that I wasted some bolts here. So, after all that pain, I shouldn't say that. I really hope they're not following me through the tunnel at this point. Now you'll see there's a statue coming down here. This is where the first key is. So, grab that pretty quick, because now... I can't see where I'm going. So... Obviously, turning on the light can attract creatures, but, you know, if I'm totally blind, that's not good. It's not good for the video either. Well, I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's more scary that way, but seriously, I'd just rather... Alright, there it is. Hit the checkpoint. Checkpoint is always a sigh of relief, because at this point now, if I die, I just go here. The first section of this chapter is really probably the most annoying. For this is just a matter of just timing, and there's no enemies to deal with right here, but I just want to grab this because you notice there's a freeze bolt hanging on the tree there, and it costs 5 trap parts to make one of those, so I usually am not interested in crafting those, and I find that they're only useful in very specific situations. And again, what I'm trying to do is collect as much green gel, and oh, this is an annoying part. I guess if you don't grab it immediately, it falls off the ledge, so this is kind of... I suppose I am. Although, you could see the elapsed time, I had a little bit of a problem at the beginning of this chapter, because, you know, I'm trying to conserve ammo and trap parts, and I wound up kind of blowing a bolt or two. I was trying to get all the alter egos to kind of just to draw them out into one space so I could get through the gate. But it wasn't really working out, and I was taking a long time. But yeah, I kind of... The thing is, with these crates, it kind of bothered me because I saw some green gel come out of them, but it kind of slips off the edge if you don't grab it quickly, I guess. No. Can you hear me on my mic? Make sure it's working. I hope the audio is working fine. Usually it is. There's usually... I haven't encountered a problem yet with the microphone, so... Okay. That's always good to hear. Yeah, because every time I go back and look on Twitch, I always make sure to click on the video and listen to make sure I can hear my voice, because I'll probably feel like I, you know, have to go over the chapter again, which is another reason I keep a save file of the last chapter I did. Just in case something happens. Nothing has happened yet, you know, in case somehow a video wasn't archived or whatnot, because I am progressing through this orderly, and to just have, you know, all of a sudden, you know, if somebody was watching it from the beginning, you know, okay, well, part of chapter 7's missing. It's because I don't know, something happened, it wasn't archived. I haven't had that problem, but just so I can do it over again. Okay, so this part is good to use a flash bolt. All these little creatures are gonna come out, and normally on any other mode they wouldn't be much of a threat, and I would try to stomp. Well, I don't even know if I'd try to stomp all of them, because a lot of them come out when you touch the to go open the gate. Oh, they even give you a flash bolt. At least I don't have to really use up trap parts here. So, from what I find is usually I have to turn it a little bit before this happens. They start coming out. I guess I have to turn it a little bit more. You'll see about, I don't know, 15 of these things drop down. Now I can kind of hear them. All these little creatures, which really aren't that big of a threat on any other mode, but here, you know, you see a flash bolt will pretty much destroy them in one hit. Now there are some of them still around here, probably lurking around. Which is why I'll just go over to the table and, you know, check out an audio file. Why not? Oh, there's one right there. Kind of hard to spot. I'm just gonna... Obviously, stomping, I could have been killed right there, because they could have grabbed onto me. But I've found that even with the alter egos, when they're on the ground, if you can get a pretty good stomp on them, they seem to die pretty quickly. And otherwise, they take a lot of damage, but when they're on the ground, I don't know, it seems to be stomping is more effective than lighting a match on them. Well, lighting a match would kill them, but, you know, while I'm lighting the match, they can probably hit me, which is always the case with everything, so... I don't know, hopefully I'm safe to do this right now. It's hard to tell because I can't look around while I'm doing this, and these little things can be on the ground. It seems like I did away with a lot of them with the flashbolt, but... Okay, well, it looks like I'm... okay. Well, I'm never okay really playing on this, because anything can really happen, but... And I know there's more of them up here, and... although the key might come up first. There's another key behind one of the waterfalls. So... Also, there's this little area here, which is good to note. Big jar of green gel, you know. It's always good. Trying to save up to 50,000 before I, because I want to get my harpoon bolts to level 5. After that point, I don't know. Going kind of blank in my head. This chapter just doesn't seem like I have really much to say on this chapter. It's very short, and with the exception of the beginning, in which I died a few times, and isn't really a lot to collect here. Then, of course, there's 3 keys, which is always good. Now, again, a flashbolt will do these. I could try to jump over the gate here and stomp them, but, you know, I probably won't do too well doing that. And again, I feel like I have a little more leeway with the trap parts. I really don't want to go and waste a lot. When I started Chapter 7, I had 11 trap parts, and when I ended the chapter, I had about 40. So Chapter 7 and Chapter 9 are really good places to get trap parts. Which, for me, I find to be necessary, at least for myself, because Chapter 10 and 11 are going to be kind of a pain, and I'm going to wind up be using not only trap parts, but ammo, and so I sort of use those 2 chapters as preparation chapters, in the same way that I used 2 and 3 to prepare for what came in 5 and 6. And 6 pretty much drained me of parts, especially in the first 2 rooms. I can't believe how many parts I drained just in that, but and you know, this is me not being an expert gamer, so I definitely could have not used as many parts as I did, but at that, you know, being in those 2 rooms at that point, I just wanted to. Once I got out, I wasn't thinking to myself, well, let me just go try to replay this and, you know, do it in a better way. I just... I don't know. I did waste a few harpoon bolts by missing earlier. I kind of want to just have this guy follow me out here, because there's only one of them, I believe, and sort of run back if I can. And again, I could always die, which I guess you just get used to it, but I really wish he kind of wasn't. Okay. Now, they're kind of slow and they give up chase, like I said, easily, but he could easily just chase me into here, which right now isn't that bad because I don't have to pull a crank or open up a gate, so. If there was a gate to open, it might be a little more problematic, but... No, we're coming up to a part. This isn't really... You know, sometimes there's some puzzles in this game, but none of them are really, you know, overly complicated or anything. It's just... Maybe that's just water dripping. I don't know, I'm hearing the dripping now and I'm kind of like, are these little things falling from the ceiling? But I think in this area there's no enemies. Now I think that, but at the same time, I'm also aware that I could be wrong, and so I try not to let my guard down in certain places, but it's hard to tell because, you know, with different playthroughs on different modes, playing through on AKUMU mode, it's just not about the whole one-hit kill factor. I mean, that's a feature on this. But really, if playing on this mode were just about one-hit kills and everything else was the same, it wouldn't be as challenging or as difficult as it is. It's also the increase in the enemy's speed, their awareness, and their numbers, and some of the environmental changes, which are the added traps in some cases where enemies appear where they weren't before, and which makes it a lot more challenging. Now, this really, usually what happens here is just, you know, you have this plate and you stick it in the door, but usually the way that they give you the plate is how you're going to place it into the door. It's really that 50-50 chance. I mean, if you put it in wrong, you're going to die, just like apparently this person did. And that person's death really just gives, you know, the clue of how to put the plate in, because there's blood on one side of the plate, so you want to usually put it in the way they just give it to you. You want to put the bloody side in. If I flip the panel and put it in this way, this is obviously the way that the woman who died put it in, because there's blood on it. So now, if I had said all that and then spikes came out of the wall and hit me, I would feel a little bit foolish right now, but that's okay, because it's again, this broadcast is not edited in any way, and I die quite a number of times, and I'm not really concerned about this. I feel like it also gives a more, at least real account from my perspective. Or that's what it's more about. It's just kind of playing this and letting it go out the way it is. Also, just to show, you know, how, you know, in some cases where how it can be on this mode, at least from the point of view from somebody, again, who I'm not an expert, so. There's a lot of walkthroughs that are incredibly helpful, in which cases, you know, people edit videos to get through certain sections to make points, which is very good. This is more just about, I guess, a playthrough, and just whatever happens, happens, and I just let it go that way.
Doc, what the hell is going on?
There's no time. I need to figure out how to
So, believe it or not,
Doctor?
this chapter's pretty much over, almost. So, because this is pretty much the shortest chapter that I could think of. Now, even though the elapsed time is 45 minutes, that's basically 20 minutes of me in the beginning of the chapter trying to do something in a little more efficient way without wasting ammo. And I died quite a, maybe a couple of times. I don't know how many exactly. So the last key is in here. To go over, I believe, yes, here it is. Little statue head sticking out of the pipe. And, okay, I was really hoping it just didn't disappear behind the pipes. That would have meant having to reload, but then again, reloading at this point, the past checkpoint isn't really a big deal, but... Again, for anybody who's in here, I'm not collecting the collectibles themselves. The primary reason I'm collecting all the keys is to open up all the lockers, to get all of the green gel and ammo I can for this mode, considering how rare it is to come across ammo, green gel, at least relatively, considering other modes. So, now, they give you a little preview here of the Chapter 10 boss, which seems to be a notorious boss that, seems to be very problematic for a lot of people. And I'm not excluding myself from that. That boss is kind of a pain. Especially after Chapter 10, running through, with the mini-bosses, with Laura, and then having to face, I believe the proper name would be Amalgam Alpha of that creature. Now, so at this point what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this broadcast on this chapter, because I'll start a new one on Chapter 9. Chapter 9 can take quite a while, at least in the way I'm playing, because I'm playing a very careful and cautious way and collecting everything, and Chapter 9 is a very good place to collect trap parts, and it's a chapter where you can get by disposing of enemies in a stealthy way to conserve ammo, as long as it requires a lot of patience, considering Ruvik will be appearing at various times, and if you don't escape him, it's an instant death. And now that's the case, really. Saying instant death on AKUMU mode doesn't, I guess, mean much after a while when playing. I mean, when you can get nicked in the foot and you can die, I mean, you die from anything, but really, even if you're playing on casual mode or any mode, if Ruvik gets right in front of your face, it's an instant death on any mode, so... So what I'm going to do at this point is end this broadcast so I can probably start up a new one for Chapter 9, which I'll probably divide up into parts. I can't imagine going through the entire thing in one broadcast, although I've said that before, and I've went through some chapters and probably should have split it up, but again, I'm not too concerned, so... But I think this is a good point to stop it. So for anybody who's watching, I'm going to end this broadcast, and once I start up Chapter 9, I'll start broadcasting again. All of these videos are archived on Twitch, and for this particular playthrough, it's going right from the beginning, from Chapter 1. Again, I'm not an expert gamer, so I'm going through this very cautiously. This is my second playthrough, however... I use certain chapters in anticipation of later ones in such a way that Chapters 2 and 3, for instance, I use for collecting purposes. I get through it in a stealthy way, conserve ammo, build up trap parts, and then comes Chapter 5 and 6, and I wind up using up a lot of it. Chapters 7 and 9 are a good way to build up again before Chapters 10 and 11. Chapter 8 is kind of, for me, just a filler in between 7 and 9. I don't really gain all too much. The keys are very important, but I don't lose much, I don't gain much. It's just... So, again, I'm going to, for anybody who just entered, kind of end this broadcast and start up a new one when I start Chapter 9. So, my name is Brian, so thanks for anybody who's come in and watching, and I always enjoy chatting while I'm playing. It kind of helps me to be calm at the same time. Not that I typically get into any... I do die quite a number of times in some of these places, but I feel like almost like while I'm broadcasting, just being conscious of that, you know. I'm very aware of it, and keeps me at a level of composure that I didn't have when I did my first AKUMU playthrough by myself. You know, sitting in front of the TV, I was just in certain places got so frustrated that, you know, I was literally just screaming at the screen. And it might be even hard to imagine that, as somebody else pointed out in another broadcast. Imagine me just screaming at the television or cursing, but you know, it did happen. And I do live with other people, so I actually disturbed a person or two. Came knocking at the door, you know, because I was yelling. I don't know, it just... But... So, again, my name is Brian. I'm going to end this broadcast, and when I start up Chapter 9, I'll go live again. So, thanks to anybody for watching, and I'll see you soon.